It's gorgeous out. Let's pop some ducks.
This is the Upduck Podcast, a blend of upland and waterfowl hunting. Tune in as your hosts, Tyler Beaton, Jeff Ludicky, Matt Jeske, chat about training dogs and share their bird hunting stories, tactics, and strategies.
Why? Okay, we are recording. Wow. Okay,
Here
we're live. We're back. It's been a slow start to the year, Jeff, but we are raring and ready to go. At least one of us is.
Only two of us tonight.
I know. No,
two of us and a guest. We got a great guest lined up here for everybody, but no Matt.
No Matt. Where is he? Somewhere? Is he home now?
Yeah, I think he had some family event this evening.
But
some class or something like that.
But he got back, he was gone for 10 days though for work. It was insane. It was absurd. You were in Florida just basking in the sun. You look like you still have some tan going on, by the way.
Yeah, I might have got a little color, but yeah, Disney. We went to Disney with the kids. That was it was a lot more fun than I had thought. I wasn't quite sure how much fun I would have just being large crowds and lots of chaos and being in a small hotel room with my kids for 6 days, but we had a very good time and they thoroughly enjoyed it. So we'll go back.
That's awesome. When did you get back? You sound super relaxed still. You sound like you're in vacation mode. I can hear it in your voice.
No, I don't know if I'm in vacation mode, but I am nursing a little bit of a cold here too. And we have the stomach flu going through the house, so which I haven't got yet, thankfully, but I do have a cold. So yeah, we're paying the price for our little vacation.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's the time of year. I mean, we don't even get all the way better and we're getting sick with something else in my house. So and the stomach
bug's the worst because when one of them gets it, all you do is wait. You're just sitting there waiting for your turn, and you just don't know when it's going to show up.
Yes.
A matter of time.
Yes. Yes.
That's the worst. The anticipation of it is just, it's not fun.
No,
maybe I'll get lucky.
It's terrible. It's awful. Yeah. I haven't had coffee in a week. So I'm, over here holding it together by, I don't know what, duct tape. Who knows? Yeah.
It's going on rough. A cleanse or what?
No. I have some stomach issues. I had an ulcer. So yeah.
Yeah. Too much emergency probably.
Not too much coffee, travel, stress, all of that mixed together here. Just not great. So we got to do some de-stress. We got to de-stress here. We got to do some activities that take the stress away, like talk about dogs.
There we go.
Look at that segue. So speaking of dogs, let's bring in our guest on Instagram. He goes by the Hunting Traveler. He's a photographer, writer. I mean, pretty much he's a man of many trades. So his name is Chris. How do you say your last name? I'm going to screw it up here. Midgette. Okay. His name is Chris Midgette.
Well, unless you're North Carolina, then it actually is Midgette.
Okay. I'm not from North Carolina. Midgette. So Chris Midgette, welcome to the Upduck Podcast.
I appreciate you guys. I know we were just talking, we've been talking for a couple of years now, so glad to be on and finally meet you guys face to face via virtual, but still face to face. So yeah, appreciate you guys having me.
I think we've been meaning to have you on for quite a while. I think I had mentioned to Tyler, and I'm glad we got it lined up.
Yeah, for sure. Long time coming.
Yeah, it has been. So, all right, Chris, give us the backstory just on, hey, where you're at, where you're located, where you live, what you do. Give us some backstory.
So I moved to Midland, Michigan it'll be 4 years in June. So if you do this in Michigan, we're right there. About 2.5 hours north of Detroit. Moved here from Virginia. I was mostly raised in Virginia. I did go to college down in Charleston. But yeah, mostly in Virginia. And then I used to travel for work. I used to be a consultant, mostly for dealerships and some other power sports motor companies, doing some sales training and then some back-end software training, getting into some service stuff as well, as far as how they run their service drives. But I used to be a consultant. Long story short, my schedule typically was I'd leave my house at about 3 or 4 on a Sunday, fly out, work Monday, Tuesday, fly somewhere else, work Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then fly home. And I did that every week of the year for about 8.5 years. So that's partly where the Traveler came from. Yeah, so I used to have the stats as far as how many miles I flew and how many flights. And where I lived in Virginia, I always had to connect. So I was averaging 9 to 12 flights a week. Yeah, I basically lived in a hotel and a airport for 8 years, which was cool. I mean, I saw every state except 6. I made a lot of cool connections. I took advantage towards the end of my traveling career. I took advantage of some hunting opportunities if I was in Texas or Arkansas. When I first started, I wasn't as big into upland, so I didn't take advantage of that, unfortunately, because I used to go to Idaho, Utah, and I could have done some, more upland hunting that I can't get into or haven't gotten into yet. So, yeah, got tired of that with cancellations and delays. COVID was a good time to travel because nobody was in the airports. It was the best time to be in an airport. It was like 2020, that whole year, and then a little bit into 21. Yeah, as things got back to normal and cancellations and delays, it was probably 50-50 if I was going to make it home on my flight, either from Philly or Charlotte to where I lived in Virginia. So normally my flight would get canceled. So I'd say, screw it. I'm grabbing a rental car. I would drive home, get home at 3-4 in the morning. And if it was during duck season, I just went home, grabbed my waders, grabbed the dog, grabbed my gun, parked in my buddy's driveway. He'd knock on the window, wake me up. I'd hop in the truck. We'd go hunt. And that was kind of my life for 8 years. Got tired of that. Said I'm done. Got an offer from a client up here. At first, I was like, I'm not moving to Michigan, and then I saw the offer and it was pretty solid. So I was like, all right, well, maybe I'll move to Michigan. And not knowing how good the hunting opportunities are up here, coming from a dumb Southerner, I was like, Michigan's Detroit. Like, that's all I knew, which I was way wrong on. So yeah, I moved up here to Midland, like I said, about 4 years ago. It's been super enjoyable. There's a lot of hunting opportunities. Which I did not know how many outdoor writers are from Michigan as well. Like the Smith family, they're big publishers for Pointing Dog Journal and Retriever Journal. Steve Vernella, he's from Michigan. Meat Eater. Like there's a lot of outdoor writers here. John Osborne, Alan Crater, they're all here. So yeah, it's just been enjoyable. So that's kind of the last, I guess, 4 years in a nutshell. I was raised duck hunting in Virginia, which I think you guys had Mike on y'all's last podcast, and he was talking about the lack of opportunities in North Carolina. Yeah, that's the same in Virginia. If we saw 5 ducks in a day, that was a great day. If we shot 2, that was a hell of a day. So I did not get spoiled at all. And I did a little bit of quail hunting with my dad growing up. But the quail population in Virginia they're trying to bring it back, but it's nothing to what it used to be. I was telling somebody on a couple weeks ago, in 1970, they harvested like 1,300,000 quail in Virginia. In 2010, they harvested, I think, 30,000. I mean, it's just the habitat's gone. So they're trying to bring it back, but it's just so populated. I think Mike talked about on the last podcast, the hunting pressure, especially in the Southeast, is just stupid. It's very competitive. And then in Virginia, my part of Virginia, if you build a duck blind on let's say a public river, you build a duck blind, you tag it, no one can hunt within 500 yards of that blind for the rest of the season. So it's stupid. So every river and navigable waterway, just about, as we call it, blinded up. Every 500 yards, it was damn near blind. So puddle duck hunting is really hard. And so when I got Traveler, who's the Boykin Spaniel that I have now, I traveled a lot for work, so I got him obviously professionally trained because I just wasn't home. And I was like, all right, well, I have a really good hunting dog. I want opportunities. So that's what led me into more upland hunting, was just because most of our duck hunting in Virginia, because of the blind laws, or lack of opportunities, just turned into diver and sea duck hunting. Well, I'm not throwing my 35-pound spaniel in the Chesapeake Bay where there's big old critters that like to eat things like that. So, I got more into upland, and that got me more out west, doing more pheasant hunting, and then obviously moving here in Michigan, getting more into grouse hunting. So long story short, that was the last 4 years condensed really short.
Nice. That's good. I have so many questions. I don't even know where to start.
I threw a lot out there, but yeah.
That was good. I am like, okay. are you traveling as much now, or are you pretty much home based?
Not at all. I'm not. Well, I get to work 7:30 to 5. The only traveling I do now is for fun.
Okay.
So I mean,
So-
it got to the point when I used to travel where I grabbed my suitcase and my dogs just knew, like, all right, he's gone. Friday night. So before I started dating my wife, I would drop my dogs off at my parents' house, and my older dog who passed back in May, she said on Friday nights around like 11 o'clock or midnight, he would go to the back door and just sit. Like he knew that, all right, he's been gone 5 days, just like dogs are with dinner time. He knew Friday night, 11 o'clock, about an hour, dad should be getting there. So yeah, no more travel for me unless it's fun stuff.
So have you been able to hunt a lot more the last 4 years?
Yes and no. So when I was a consultant, we were mostly, for the most part, paid on a daily rate. So if I got to the point, and luckily I eventually got enough seniority where I could just not work the whole entire month of October because no one paid me. I technically only had to skip like one visit with my client, because I would have, a couple different clients that filled up my month. So I was only skipping one each. So yeah, at one point, I think I did it 2 years in a row where I left Virginia, went to North Dakota, and basically hunted 2 weeks waterfowl, and then like a week and a half or so upland. It was basically in North Dakota for the whole entire month. And then on top of that, I don't think I hunted my way out there, but on the way back, I stopped in Iowa because I was on my way to a store in Wisconsin. So I stopped in Iowa, hunted, went up to Wisconsin, worked and hunted. I think I came home for a couple of days, and I took my wife on a trip up to Maine to go grouse hunt. So, I mean, I used to hunt more condensed when I was traveling. Now I just get to hunt every weekend, and then luckily my boss is pretty cool about me coming in late if I want to go grouse hunt in the morning, or if the weather's right, I'm gonna go duck hunt. He'll kind of let me go. So it just kind of depends, I guess. But I would say it's more spread out.
Sure. No, that makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Where in Wisconsin did you hunt?
Up near Stevens Point.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I used to go there. What's the oh hell, what's gonna bother me now? The home of the Hodag.
Rhinelander.
That's the one. Yeah. I was talking to someone the other day, and they said something about Rhinelander, and I was like, oh, the home of the Hodag. And they're like, you know that? And I was like, yeah, I used to go there about every month for a couple months in a row. So yeah, that was
some good rough grouse hunting up there.
Well, I had never been exposed to that, like that far north. And I went there, this would have been, God, I don't know, 2018 maybe, when that big polar vortex came through. And I remember I landed, and I had Crocs on, and I went to get a rental car, and they didn't have any all-wheel drive, no four-wheel drive. They gave me a Malibu, and I landed in Green Bay. And I think that's what, an hour and a half-ish south of Rhinelander, and I had to drive through that snow. I was just bouncing off of snowbanks the whole drive, like going 30. I just was not exposed to that kind of winter. So that was an experience going up there. That was yeah. But yeah, back then I didn't really know how good the hunting was, but it's a pretty area for sure.
So your Instagram handle, The Hunting Traveler, really has a lot of different meanings, it sounds like. One, you were doing a lot of traveling yourself, right? Sounds like one of your dogs' name is Traveler.
Mm-hmm.
And now you're doing a lot of traveling around the country hunting too, right? It's got almost 3 different meanings to it.
Well, there's a fourth, less politically correct. There's a reason that it's got 2 L's. So the less politically correct one, and I don't know, I might offend people, but it's more of a historical thing. So obviously I grew up in Virginia, went to school in South Carolina. And so my dad he's a huge history nerd, and I kind of got that from him. And so we've had, a Jackson named after Stonewall Jackson. I don't think we've had a Lee, but we had a Bow named after General Beauregard in the Confederate Army. So when I got Traveler, I was thinking of names, and I couldn't think of a good general or good like Southern name. Robert E. Lee's favorite war horse was Traveler, and he liked the old English spelling of the 2 L's. So that's how and honest to God, when I thought of it, because I picked him up in Pennsylvania, and was driving home, and I was like, oh, Traveler would be a good name. And sure enough, Chris Stapleton's Traveler was on the radio. And I was like, oh, well, that's just got to happen. So that's why he's got the 2 L's, is for the old English spelling. But yeah, like you said, there's a couple different meanings to it. So
yeah, it's a very ambiguous handle that you have there.
I've been to one hunt test where, they called Traveler up, and the judge went, Robert E. Lee's dog? And I was like, oh, you know your history. Okay, yeah. But yeah, so, and then my wife makes fun of me because she's like, you would name our dogs something, you know, I don't know, with a lot of meaning behind it. And Tura, who's our Wirehaired Vizsla, we just got, her name basically means to trek or journey or travel in Hungarian. And then when I thought of that name, I might mess up. I think it might be Tura or True Roll. There's in Hungarian history, they have like an eagle or a falcon that's really big in their history in Hungary. So it kind of all fit together. So try to have a little bit of meaning to it.
Now, the breeder that you got your Wirehaired Vizsla from, I believe, doesn't she use Hungarian names for all of her dogs too?
A lot of them do, yeah. So I think Tura's official name is Pannonia Kennels Senge, which is like Csenge, I think, if I remember correctly.
Nice.
Yeah, I've had to learn a lot of Hungarian getting this dog. So yeah.
So let's get more into the dogs.
I was going to say I wanted to ask about writing before we got to the dog. We're into the dog world.
We're into the dogs. Let's keep going.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're into the dogs. Okay. We got the names. I like so it's funny you like Traveler is a name I haven't heard for a dog before. And we're gonna get a third dog here. So it's like I'm like, I want something that's unique that I just don't hear, right?
Right.
I will not no offense to anybody that has named their dog Remy or
Bo, Winnie,
you know,
yeah, all those ones.
Like I'm like, no, we can't. No, it's not happening. Yeah, so it's got to be something unique, different. Love Traveler.
Yeah,
love
Traveler's a cool name.
Yeah,
I thought it was. Yeah, I mean, I try to do something. I mean, obviously, I got a Boykin Spaniel and a Wirehaired Vizsla, so obviously, I try to be a little bit different.
Unique. It's a unique combo. I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if anybody else has that combo. That I've ever.
You know, there is one lady, Jordan. She's down, I think, in North Carolina, and I've known her in the Boykin world for a bit, and then she had a Wirehaired Vizsla, and then she found out I was getting one. I was like, yeah, we're probably the only two people that have that mixture, probably. So
yeah, let's start with the Boykin world here. Okay, all right. Yeah. Like, did you grow up with Boykins? Like, what? How did you come to be a Boykin guy? Like what?
Yeah, born and raised Boykins. My dad got his first. Let's see. So he graduated college 76, and I think he got his first in 78, maybe. So he was in the Navy. Got married to my mom, and he was big into duck hunting, wanted to get a gun dog. And at first he wanted a lab, and my mom didn't like the tail. And so he went to the same college I did down in Charleston. And the state dog of South Carolina is the Boykin Spaniel. So back in the late 70s, early 80s, that was basically the only place you were going to find a Boykin, was in South Carolina, maybe north. They just weren't well known. They only made the breed standards in, I want to say 77 or 79, somewhere within there. They're relatively new breed. But yeah, I grew up with them. My sisters had 2 or 3. I've had 2. My parents, I don't know, 12, 13 maybe. Yeah, we've had a bunch. So yeah, I grew up with them, and I got Cooper fresh out of college. He lived to be 15. Like I say, he just passed last year. Decent hunting dog, but that he could have been better. But that was just, I was an idiot, fresh out of college, didn't know what the hell I was doing. But yeah, I'll never not have at least one Boykin running around for sure. Yeah, I've been around my whole life.
Okay, I think you are the first person we've had on the podcast that has owned Boykins, right?
Okay, all right.
I don't yeah. So for folks that are listening that have not seen a Boykin, don't know anything really about the breed, you want to give us the lowdown, like what are they known for, right? They're smaller. They're smaller in stature, right? Like give us some of the breed information.
So their tagline is the dog that doesn't rock the boat. So basically, to really shorten a story, early 1900s, this guy found a brown dog on his way to church, left church, dog was still there, took it home, found out that it liked to fetch. And so he gave it to a guy that was trying to breed a smaller retriever for the swamps for duck hunting, which a lot of the guys do in the swamps in South Carolina off of back then canoes and kayaks. And a lab was just too big, and obviously Chessie's way too big. So he was trying to breed a dog that didn't rock the boat. So So that's a very condensed story, but he gave it to Mr. Boykin. Mr. Boykin, obviously, that's how he made the breed. They know there's some Cocker, some American Water Spaniel, some Chessie, and there's actually some pointer in the breed. There are some puppies that will try to point. Now, in the Boykin Spaniel Society standards, they are not supposed to point. They're literally, it says in there, aggressive flusher. I've seen some quote unquote breeders that are trying to get some to point. I'm 100% against that. If you want a pointer, go get a pointer. It's a spaniel. They're supposed to flush just like a Cocker. As far as size, they're taller than a Cocker. They can range anywhere between 25, 30 pounds to, I think the breed standards taps up around 45. We had one that he was about 50-ish. He was a little bit out of standards. He was kind of big. His name was Rebel, and he was stubborn like a Chessie. You could shoot a duck and you could shoot a duck and it'd be like, 10, 15 yards away, and he'd go, I'm not picking that up. But if you hit a goose and it was 100 yards away, he was all about it. He had like a vendetta against geese. But they are spaniels, so they typically mature a little bit slower. For better or worse, the breed has gotten a lot more popular in the last 10-ish years or so. So there are, like, especially on social media, I try to educate people as much as I can. Where just to make sure that if you're looking for a gun dog, you get one from a reputable breeder, just like anything else. So the Boykin Spaniel Society, I'm very involved in. I just got elected to their board of directors. And then I'm secretary for the local chapter up here, just to try to educate people as far as what they're getting into. I think a lot of people look at a Boykin and they see either pictures that I've posted, or I don't know if you guys probably know Matt Hicks or Eric Hicks. Those two guys take phenomenal pictures of their Boykins, or Mike Barnes down in Alabama takes great pictures. Obviously, those are highlight reels. And I think a lot of times people see these pictures and think that their dog can do this. And Boykins can, but it's not a miniature lab. It doesn't have, typically, against talking generalizations here, the cold tolerance that a lab's going to have. And so I think some people, I always try to warn them, like, they're going to mature slower. They have ADHD. Most labs, you can do the same drill 100 times in a row. That lab's just as happy the 100th time as the first time. A lot of Boykins will get bored very easily and just shut down on you because they're bored. If you're like Traveler, he's pretty stubborn. I can be a little hard on him. Cooper, if I put a little growl in my voice, he would shut down on me for a day. They're a little bit softer sometimes. But as far as the good stuff, I mean, they're great size. Obviously, they don't have a tail. They're versatile in what they can hunt. I mean, I can take Traveler and duck hunt in the morning, they go pheasant hunt in the afternoon. Like I said, if with their size, I can throw them on my shoulder if something happens, or if we're wading in and I don't want him to get wet and I don't have a jet sled, or I just throw them in the jet sled, or I can just throw them on my shoulder and carry them. I've hunted with Traveler all across the U.S. for damn near everything. So, they're cool little dogs.
Yeah.
They're fun.
Energy wise, do they lean more like lab or do they lean more like pointer?
I'd probably go lab. But I think also, there's a god awful Facebook group that I'm part of, where I'm an admin of, or one of the admins. It's Boykin Spaniel lovers. And so we have a good mix of non-hunting people and then the hunting people. And so a lot of people will get these Boykins thinking, oh, they're smaller, they're less energy, I can keep him in an apartment without any training and structure. And they call them Destroykins rather than a Boykin. And they're like, oh, my dog's tearing up the furniture, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you got to take the dog to tire it. Just like any other dog, especially the Boykin, as new as they are relatively, a lot of them still have that instinct. It hasn't been bred out of them, if you will, to be a working dog. Again, they only made the breed standards in the late 70s. They were really well unknown until 10, 15 years ago. So I would say mostly lab, as long as you give it structure. Now, like I said, Traveler's asleep on the couch next to me. He'll sleep all day. If God forbid, I hit the bourbon a little hard and I'm hungover the next day, he's good with sleeping in the bed all day with me. but then if it's time to go, he'll do 15, 20 miles in the grouse woods with me too. So they're pretty, it's just, I think it comes down to training for the most part.
Just like anything else.
Mm-hmm.
Just like anything else. So has it been good or bad for the breed that it's gotten more popular? I've seen plenty of Boykins at retriever hunt tests that I run, all over the spectrum, right? Some, right, just like, I mean, it's any breed you see at a hunt test. You have some dogs who are like, you're at the basic level, the started test in HRC, and you have just some dogs don't have any drive, right? They just don't. Right. It's not natural. And then I've seen other Boykins. There's a professional trainer in Illinois. I don't know his name. I can't remember. It's been a few years, but he had a truck full of Boykins, and he had 6 or 7 Boykins in that finish flight where we're running, right? We're running, triples and complex blinds and honoring and all that stuff. And right, the variety is there.
I think the upper echelon of Boykins, as it's gotten more popular, has gotten so much better. So my dad ran hunt test and field trials way back in the 80s. And as a kid, I would go with him and well, late 80s, early 90s. I'm not that old. And I would go with them and so it's kind of funny because the people that I grew up with in the Boykin world that maybe were in their 30s when I was, a little around, 10, they're still involved in the Boykin world. And now I've kind of moved up with them into, some of these leadership roles with the Boykins. And so it's kind of funny because they've known my dad for 30, 40 years and they know me since I was 25 or I'm not 5 or 10 years old. But I think if you looked at the Boykin Spaniel, let's say national champion of the Boykin Spaniel Society 15, 20 years ago, would not compare to what we have now. The upper echelon of dogs is so much better. They can do so much more. I mean, we have some that are, I know they're definitely competing in the Grand, and I think we've had a couple Boykins pass the Grand. I don't think we've had any females, but I think a couple males have passed the Grand. Obviously, a lot have their master tests or their master titles and stuff like that. So that I don't think was happening 15, 20 years ago.
Is that do you think that's breeding? Is it training? Is it both?
I think it's both. I think it's both. On the flip side, the bottom echelon of Boykins, because there's popular and they're cute and they're cuddly, more and more people are buying just, for lack of a better term, just crap breedings. Because, this guy told me, the dog hunts. So I got really frustrated a couple months ago and actually wrote a Boykin Spaniel buying guide because I was just so tired of people this guy told me that the dog, the dad likes to hunt or the sire likes to hunt. And I'm like, well, that doesn't mean anything. Guys posting that their puppy has, showing videos of the dog having hip dysplasia, which can happen in Boykins, which is why, we do the tests. So much so that the Boykin Spaniels, I got an argument with one guy. The Boykin Spaniel Society will reimburse all, if not at least some of the major health tests for your Boykin so that, there's no excuse to not do it. If you're part of the society, if you're going to breed your Boykin, why wouldn't you join and you get your health tests covered? It's a no-brainer. And no offense to AKC or HRC, I'm big supporters of them, but they're not doing that for the breed. So I'm a huge proponent of trying to educate people, whether it's potential buyers, not to talk them out of it, but just to make sure that they're not getting a miniature lab or a miniature Chessie. Because to your point, the temperament's just, it can be similar. Like Traveler, he went to a lab trainer, but I do know some lab trainers that don't touch Boykins, whether they had a bad experience in the past, or maybe they don't want to deal with them. Where I got Traveler from, he's a pretty big Boykin breeder. He's won a couple national championships. I called him a couple years back and I said, man, why don't you get into labs? And he was like, I don't want to know how easy it could be. I said, well, that's fair. He was like, I like training these little brown knuckleheads. Because it's, every dog has their day and they're going to be good days, some bad some days. But these Boykins, man, they have a lot of personality. In all the ones that we've had in the family, they've all been completely different. Whether it's their coat, they can have, like Cooper had a slicker coat, did not have a double coat at all. So he didn't handle cold weather very well. Traveler, way more stubborn, a little bit lankier, double coat and can handle the cold weather. Within reason, obviously. But I've hunted him in a pit blind in Nebraska in single digits and breaking ice, and he was fine. Obviously, we had a buddy heater, and I dried him off. But yeah, so I just, I try to educate people, but I think to your original question, I think it's both breeding and training. It's just, the upper echelon of Boykins are just so much better.
Now, do you find more people that are into waterfowl hunting buying Boykins or upland hunting? And where do you think like the breed thrives between the two?
I think that depends on the area of the country.
Okay.
So like me in Michigan, I've kind of flip-flopped. I used to do like 90% waterfowl, 10% upland down south. Now, I'll duck hunt with Traveler in October, November. Once December starts rolling around, a lot of times we already have ice and if we're in the 20s and it's blowing a gale, I'm not going to duck hunt with him. Whereas sometimes in December in Virginia, it's still 70 degrees. So I think in the Southeast and down south, waterfowl hunters for sure, like Mike Barnes, he's from Alabama. A couple other guys are from down south, and obviously that's where they're more popular because that's where the breed originated. But I think a lot more people are hearing about Boykins and seeing them, and so the upland world, I think a lot more guys are getting into them. There's a guy out west that he lives in Arizona now, but he used to be in Iowa and duck hunt or pheasant hunt in North Dakota, and he and I met through social media, just through Boykins. I said, dude, why did you get a Boykin in North Dakota? And he's like, well, I mean, they're bigger than a cocker, but they're still small enough to cut through the cattails without having to like charge through them because they're small enough to just kind of weasel their way through it. So that's why he got one. So I think if you're down south, they thrive in that waterfowl environment. If you're up north like I am, they're great grouse dogs. They're naturally going to quarter. They stay close. They work with you. They're not dependent on you, but they want to check in, make sure they're doing, like, they want to please you, almost like any other spaniel. They're not super independent in that they want to go do it for themselves. The first time I ever ran Traveler in an upland test, I had no experience besides preserve hunting. And I talked to a trainer and I said, I'm going to run Traveler in a hunt test or upland hunt test for the Boykin Spaniels Society. And it was just a novice. I said, what do I need to do? He's like, he'll do it. Don't worry about it. And I said, what if he doesn't? He said, don't worry about it. He's going to do it. I was like, what if he doesn't? He's like, don't worry about it. He'll naturally quarter. And sure enough, he did. So, if he ranges out a little bit, I just beep him on the whistle and he'll come right back. I would say, I guess it depends on what part of the country. Me personally, I think Traveler enjoys upland hunting more because he's moving the whole time. Because, you guys have sat there. 80% of my duck hunts, I'm just sitting there in the cold, just waiting. Whereas at least if we're grouse hunting, he gets to run around like a knucklehead and at least get some exercise,
Yeah, that's fair for sure.
Yeah, that's good. I want to ask more about Boykins, but I also want to figure out, okay, how did you go from a Boykin, right, to a Wirehaired Vizsla, right? And we had Ben from North Country Sporting Dogs. I get that right? Is it North Country?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Up on, and he's like, there's about 5,000, right? Was it 5,000 in the world? 5,000 in the U.S. Kind of U.S. I can't remember.
I think in the U.S. he might have said
U.S. 5,000.
Yeah, it might be the U.S. or North America. There's not many out there. Yeah.
Right. So you went from a niche breed, right? I would say Boykins are a niche breed, right?
Yeah, very much so.
And you just leveled up to like super niche breed.
Yeah.
Talk about that. What happened to get you to that point?
It's a great question. My buddies make fun of me for it too all the time. So
we won't do that here.
At least not while we're recording.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's fair. I guess like 3 years ago, maybe 4 now. Started thinking about getting a pointing dog. And then obviously I still duck hunt, so I wanted a versatile breed. And kind of looked casually throughout the breeds here and there. And then let's see, I guess when Cooper he was 15, so we knew the original plan was get one. Maybe we thought we had a couple more years with them. And so started looking a little more seriously into breeds. And so obviously we looked at, the GSP. I said, okay, great. They're going to be great upland hunting, but I can't take that thing duck hunting late season in Michigan. It'll freeze. Coming from the Boykin, I did not want a long-haired dog just because I don't want to deal with burrs. Burrs are the bane of my existence. I've cut way too many out of his hair, or had to spray him with horse and mane and still cut him out. So I took out the setter. I love the look of a setter, whether it's a English or Irish. Even looked at a gore. I mean, we looked at everything, and so even looked at a Picardy Spaniel, because that's uber niche. That's even more niche than a Wirehaired Vizsla.
Gotta look that one up. How do you spell that?
Picardy, Picardy. There's a couple in Canada. I think there's a breeder here in the US. Craig Koshik from Hunting Dog Confidential has one, and he's kind of the main guy that's like trying to keep that breed going. They're from, it might be Picardy. I don't know. That's my Southern, just throwing it out there.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Long story short, man, we looked at every breed possible. And part of the idea was also I couldn't have one too big, because my wife wanted something that if something did happen and she had to pick the dog up and carry it, that it wasn't this 70, 80 pound behemoth that she just couldn't handle. So we want something a little bit smaller on size. And then obviously, of course, looks matter at the end of the day. She had to like what it looks like. And I followed Ben for a long time. And so Ben takes phenomenal pictures and video. And so I started sending her some of his videos and stuff. And she was like, well, what's this? And I was like, oh, that's right. Cause she didn't like the look of a Vizsla, the slick coated. No offense, Jeff, but
which is interesting. My wife is the exact opposite,
Yeah. So, cause I like the look of a Vizsla, but they're going to get cold duck hunting. I mean, at late season. So yeah, we, started calling around, talked to Ben a lot. And then, I mean, there's probably a handful of like breeders that I was kind of directed to, and started asking about their temperament and stuff like that. And everybody told me, they're a little bit slower to mature. They're big knuckleheads. They're super dedicated to their person. They can be quote unquote soft. And so the more and more breeders that I talked to and more and more people that I met that had them, I'm like, man, this is just like a Boykin as far as personality wise. It was super similar to a Boykin. Everything that they told us. So yeah, I met a couple in person, went to a couple NAVDA training days and just kind of watched how they worked. And so, yeah, that's kind of how we ended up with this bearded red dog. Yeah, she's, just happiest dog. I mean, Boykins are happy, but this dog is happy on a whole nother level. That tail does not stop moving, which has been an adjustment because we haven't had a dog with a tail ever. So that thing's like a whip. And we were not used to that. So that's been definitely an adjustment in the household. But yeah, about 3-4 years of research to find the right breed. And then of course, finding the breeder that we matched with and stuff like that, and timing. So yeah.
Now, how did that whole process go? Because I know you got your dog from Canada, right?
Mm-hmm.
We kind of talked to Ben about that a little bit too, but how did the whole process work and the logistics getting the dog from Canada to the US?
So we actually we waited until we weren't quite at the 6-month mark, but we were pretty close to it. And so Tanya, who's from she's the breeder for Pannonia Kennels. She's a NAVDA senior judge. We talked on the phone a couple times, and it just seemed like the dog that she had in mind. She's smaller. Tura's only maybe 35 pounds. She's a tiny little, she's a tiny little thing. So late season duck hunting, we'll see. But I mean, it's just like having a little red lanky Boykin running around because she's so small. But that's, again, a fit what my wife was looking for and stuff like that. So as far as getting her, she was coming to Wisconsin, if I remember correctly, for a NAVDA test. And so for some reason our schedules didn't work out. So I think the next month I flew out to Seattle, met Tanya, got Tura, threw in the back of the rental car, and we drove back. And so I think it's 35 hours nonstop. We made it in 45, if I remember correctly. That dog did not make a peep in the kennel the whole entire time. When I stopped, when I travel, I don't sleep in hotels. Like if I'm going from point A to point B, no, I'm pulling off in a rest stop or a gas station. I'm sleeping in the vehicle. I stopped at a Bass Pro or something, bought a little kennel. She was in the back of the Jeep Compass. And so when I stopped to sleep, I put all the seats down and just laid next to the kennel, and she slept in the kennel next to me. Yeah. And so it was a 45-hour drive. And what's crazy is maybe I'm a psychopath. I don't know. I did not listen to a podcast or music the whole entire drive.
Just silence.
I think I had music on for like an hour and I was like, nah. And I turned it off and just never turned it back on. I just did not. So I don't know. Maybe that makes me a psycho. That's what my wife tells me. But
I find myself doing that sometimes. It's like you get a couple hours nice, in, man. You're just like, yeah. I literally haven't even turned the radio on.
It was kind of like a nice little break. Yeah, didn't take in any information, just kind of had my thoughts and all that. So yeah.
It's not. I hear you. I love that too, because I find myself like just based on life, right? The status of the state of life right now, right? The phase of life that I'm in, the chapter of life, whatever analogy you want to use, and Jeff's in the same one, right? Alone time in a vehicle, right? Mm-hmm. Could be noise or information coming at us, but that's pretty much 24/7. So even a 10-minute quiet car ride is really nice.
Yeah,
I enjoy that.
It was almost like I got to unplug.
Yeah, exactly. But 45 hours of that? That's on another level.
I will say, I did think of a lot of really good story ideas. I was talking to a guy a couple weeks ago, and he kind of wrote a little piece on me and my background and stuff. And one of the questions he asked was like, what's a goal for me for this year? And I kind of thought about it, and I said, to be bored more. And he's like, what do you mean? I said, man, like you said, Eric, we're taking in information constantly that, it might trigger a thought or an idea, but typically, like for me, I'm constantly scrolling on social media or constantly watching TV. To unplug for, basically 2 days straight, I thought of a lot of really good story ideas because I just let my mind wander, and I go, I can make a story out of that. And so I, jot it down real quick, and then later on, I find more ideas off of it. But yeah, it was a good little detox, if you will.
Yeah, he could have got through like half the episodes that we've recorded on this podcast. That would have been like torture.
Oh man,
I could have gotten through so many books and podcasts and stuff, and I just So I mean, I'm weighing both. Which one was better?
So now I want to ask you. You did like a semi-started kind of dog, right? Where you got her at 6 months. Like there was some training done. How did that whole process go? Because like that's one thing that I feel like I would definitely be interested in with dog number 2. So I'm curious to kind of learn what that transition looked like.
Yeah, I think it depends a little bit on obviously the breed. So for instance, like a 6 month started lab is going to be way farther than a pointing dog or versatile dog. And in my limited knowledge of versatile breeds, especially the Wirehaired Vizsla that I've kind of learned more about, again, they're slower to mature. Just like a 6 month lab is going to be way more, typically way farther ahead than a 6 month Boykin. So when we got Tura, she had some very basic obedience. She had been exposed to birds. They had done a little bit of gun conditioning, but nothing super formal. Didn't do whoa or anything like that. It was basically just basic obedience. Does she know her name? Will she come? Has she been exposed to other people? Has she ridden in the truck in a kennel? Thank God, because it was a long drive and she didn't cry. So I guess it kind of depends on the breed. Because again, if you get a 6 month started lab, some labs are doing intermediate tests at 6 months. So I guess it kind of depends on the thing. But we talked to Tanya. She does some online training as well. And so we would jump on the calls and just watch what they were doing. That way we were kind of up to speed as far as, okay, what stage were we at? What exercises are they working on and stuff like that. So we had a lot of interaction. Just about every other day, if not definitely on the calls every week for sure. So we were pretty engaged as far as what was going on. One thing we kept saying all the time was like, she's just so happy. She's eager to please. The one thing that really gets her in trouble now is her nose, which I'm fine with because she uses that thing constantly. I mean, it does not stop. Even now, obviously it's so cold here. I haven't done a whole lot of real training, but I have some pheasants in the freezer and I'll take one out and just drag it and then, throw it in the woods somewhere. The house we're in right now is 10 acres, so I have plenty of room. Then I'll let her out of the house and just let her run around. She'll catch that scent and follow it and find the pheasant, bring it back to me. So just super basic stuff. I think for me, never having a versatile dog, never have a pointing dog. I'm like, man, I don't want to break this thing. I don't know what the hell I'm doing. Retriever training, I can kind of figure out, but this whole, whoa, I'm like, well, I don't know what that means. I had to learn that stuff. So yeah, it was kind of nice to have that guidance along the process. And even now I have help, obviously, especially the local NAV chapters and stuff like that. So yeah, it's been different a little bit, but
that's going to be my next question was, so this is your first pointing dog. Like, talk about that transition from aggressive flushing dog to pointing dog, right? Because it is different, right? Your expectations of the dog are different. The things that you've grown up doing and expecting the dog to do for 30 years of hunting, right? All of a sudden it's like, nope, I actually want the dog to stop. Right. I need to give the whoa command. I need to go in and flush this bird, right? And like, talk about the transition a little bit.
Well, like I said, I don't want to break her. So, just in some respects, thank God for social media, because there's so many good resources out there. Now, obviously there's bad ones too, but, I do have a lot of people that I can pick their brains. I've read a couple different books as far as just simple things like, before she runs out, when we're going to let her out to go, do her business, I whoa her at the door. Just simple stuff like that. Whoa her before she goes gets her food. Of course, then I've read some articles where like, oh, don't teach a pointing dog to sit. And I'm like, I kind of already did. It is what it is. But as far as we really haven't even gotten into real bird work. I've taken her on hunts, but it's been purely just puppy walks. Let her run around. If she points something, she points something. If she doesn't, I don't care, as long as she's having fun in the woods. She's been in the field, like when we were in North Dakota, she's been in the field where birds were shot, but she was kind of on the other side. So, later on, I threw some birds in the bushes just to see if she'd go get them. And she's got no problem retrieving. I'm trying to think the other day. God, I think it was my vest in the garage. I went out in the garage, and yeah, she ran out there and just would not come to me. I'm like, what the hell? And yeah, she was smelling my grouse vest, and it had feathers in it and stuff. So, since we haven't gotten into super advanced stuff, I just don't know what I don't know. So, leaning on the NAVTA chapters and then the pros that are around here. Luckily, being in Michigan, there's tons of bird dog trainers that I can go to and kind of rely on them. But just seeing what I've seen now with Tura, the biggest thing is just getting her out there. Just, as they say, birds will get a bird dog. And so she'll point. I mean, during this, when it was warmer, we had a chipmunk that teased the hell out of her, and she would just point that damn chipmunk all the time. She doesn't point deer. She'll growl at the deer. She don't like the deer. Yeah, just we took her in pigeons in October, did some pigeon work with her, so she pointed those. So just super basic right now, just keeping it fun. I think that's another thing too, is like there's so much pressure, especially because of social media. Everybody wants to compare their dogs. And I've kind of gotten in that where, one of her litter mates he's already had a couple of pheasants shot over him and retrieved, a couple of Sharpies and stuff. They're actually in Wisconsin. God, I forgot what part of Wisconsin he's in, but one of her litter mates is out there. And yeah, he's had multiple dogs shot or multiple birds shot over him and stuff. I'm like, don't compare. It's all right. So I'm just taking the slow process, and I'll take a dog that's maybe like a B- hunting dog that's enjoying it and having fun over, not saying, my buddies that's got the litter mate is doing this, but some people I think rush their dogs. Either A, they put way too high of expectations on them, or they rush them and quote unquote, what we would say in the retriever was they broke that dog, where yeah, the dog will do it, but he's not enjoying it. And I'd much rather have a dog that enjoys himself or herself. Yeah, they might do knucklehead things, but that comes with the territory. So yeah, we're just keeping it super slow, enjoying the process.
Yeah, I'm enjoying hearing your perspective on a lot of things, Chris, from the time that you took to research the breed you want, 3 to 4 years, right?
Yeah.
And then the time in there to find the right breeder, and then like how slow you're taking it with your dog. And you're right. In the age of social media, it's hard not to compare and be like, how come my dog isn't doing what I'm seeing on social media, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are 6-month-old or 7-month-old dogs running like finish hunting tests, right?
Yeah, it's wild.
That's not necessarily a good thing.
No.
right? It's not
I agree. Yeah.
that's not necessarily a good thing for that dog in the long run. So it's really train the dog in front of you.
Yep, 100%.
And train it with the resources you have and on the timeline that you have. That's the best advice I can give, right? We're amateurs here. We don't have the resources or the time that a pro trainer has. So like, it's okay that your dog is taking longer to get to wherever you want it to be, whether that is in the retriever world or whether that's, at running NAVHDA tests, or doesn't matter. Doesn't matter.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I think, and luckily I think, like I said, when I was doing the research and, they said wire hair, they can be slower to mature and all that. And I'm like, all right, well, I'm kind of used to that with a Boykin. Not to your point, there's some guys that are having Boykins at 6 months do their intermediate tests, and that's cool. But that dog just does not look like it's enjoying the process and enjoying itself out in the field. I'd much rather have a dog that's just a pleasure to be around. I was on a podcast 2 years ago or so, and the guys made a joke, and they're like, we didn't know what you look like because all you have on your Instagram is dogs. And I was like, yeah, that's because that's what I enjoy, is the watching a dog afield is what I get enjoyment out of. And if it's my dog or anyone else's dog, I just want to see them having fun. Obviously, yes, do their job, but even more than that, I want to see a dog that's enjoying itself while it's doing what it was bred to do. So yeah, we're not in any hurry.
Well, I'm personally excited to see your wire hair grow up and start getting out in the field, especially in the waterfowl.
Yeah.
The duck blind, because I mean that's one of the reasons why I'm so intrigued with that breed. Having the slick coated Vizsla, I don't duck hunter. I'll do a couple walk-in spots to a wood duck hole early in the year, but I'm not taking her out in the boat. I'm not taking her out late season. So that's what interests me so much. So I'm going to be living vicariously through you.
How does your slick coated do with water?
She loves the water.
Okay.
Absolutely loves the water. Will she retrieve a duck out of the water? That's a different story, but she loves to swim. She loves to fetch bumpers. Yeah, that was never an issue with us.
Yeah, that was another thing too. Researching the breeds was, my wife, she was born and raised on the Outer Banks of North Carolina. So she's huge into, she used to skimboard a lot and surf when she was younger, but now she does a lot of paddleboarding and kayaking. And so we wanted a dog that during the summer liked doing the water sports too. So kind of to your point, Eric, I mean, there was a lot of things that we thought about. And yeah, obviously there's always going to be some drawbacks to every breed. Not every breed's going to, or you're not always going to find the breed that fits everything perfect, but you have to look at the whole gamut. I mean, at the end of the day too, even if you did hunt every day of the season, you get 90 days to hunt. And then the rest of the year, that dog's a pet. So you put your ego aside and find the dog that fits within your lifestyle, and then find the dog that fits within that hunting, that short little time period of the year. And I think a lot of guys, forget about that like, I want this hard charging dog. And I'm like, that breathes fire. And I'm like, no, you don't. Stop it. Yeah, you might want it for like the 20 days that you hunt out of the year, but the other, 340 days, like you're going to go crazy because you don't know how to control this dog. Like, no offense to the draught guys, but a lot of guys get draughts that just have no business getting a draught. Or even people that get Boykins, they want these, smaller dogs that they think are low energy and cute and cuddly, and they are, but they're not low energy. So yeah, I think to your point, Eric, just doing research, and asking people. So that's what I try to do, is just educate, especially in the Boykin world, because I've been around them. I know them inside and out. I try to educate people on what they're getting and what to watch out for, and not just sell them on a breed.
It's good. That's great. Jeff, you got to have more questions on Wirehaired Vizslas.
I'm just curious about
this is your next breed, man. There's no way you've been talking about this since we had Ben on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's see, Jeff. Let me give you some. Honestly.
Okay, what about vocalization? How I know this, you just have one dog, right? You've only been really exposed to one so far on the ownership level, but are they very vocal? Because my Vizsla, when she's in the house, she's a very protective. Outside of the house, she don't bark at all. In the woods, doesn't bark, but in the house, she's barking all the time, and it drives me up the wall. So I was always curious if there was a difference there with the Wirehairs.
So we have we have the kennel that she sleeps. So we kind of alternate between having her sleep in the kennel because I want to make sure that when we travel and go to hotels, she's good in the kennel if we have to leave her in there. But then also I want to make sure that if we do go somewhere and she's not in the kennel, she doesn't act like a maniac when it's time to sleep. So we alternate her sleeping in the kennel some nights and not sleeping in the kennel some nights. But her kennel is right by the front door. So we throw her in the kennel. We leave the house. She might bark once or twice, and then she stops. And then when we come into the house, she wags her butt and wags her tail. And she didn't really bark. Like she'll do like this happy growl. But we don't open that kennel until she sits down and quiets. And it takes maybe 10 seconds more often than not. I mean, she's really quiet. The living room is almost floor to ceiling windows on two sides of the two walls. And so we get deer, squirrels, rabbits, birds all the time. She'll sit there and watch them and not make a peep. Now, if the deer get within like 5 feet of the house, then she'll growl like a low growl, but she doesn't bark at them. She just sits there and watches them, chills. Yeah, she doesn't make a peep in the house, man. It's now if it's playtime, yeah, she'll do like that playful little growl at you. One thing I love about her, which I think is a good thing, Traveler did it when he was a pup. She doesn't chew on them, but she will pick up, especially my wife's. It's very rarely my shoes, but she'll pick up my wife's sandals. And we reward her, she'll come and I'll say, all right, good girl. And then I'll give her something that she can't actually play with and chew on, but she's constantly getting something in her mouth, which I think is good because that means she likes to retrieve. She likes to fetch. She has a pretty good off switch. When she first got here, she'd kind of paw at you because she wanted to like lay in your lap. But she's gotten better at that. And then she does this weird thing. And I think some of her litter mates do it where she curls into like this tiny ball. And then we know she's falling asleep because she'll go, oh. And so I can just say she's powering down. Like it's not a growl. It's just like literally like her just powering down. You're like, oh, she's down for the night.
Like old man noises.
Yeah. Just like she's going down. Okay.
Josie does the same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, she's
must be just a regular Vizsla thing then.
Dude, I mean, she's great at entertaining herself. Now, yeah, I mean, she's gonna be a little wild, especially if it's we just haven't gotten her outside that day a lot. She'll just kind of not run laps, but she'll run around with a toy by herself. On the nights that she's not sleeping in the kennel, I have a dog bed next to the bed, and she'll just crawl up in that and go to bed. I mean, she's been great in the house. Doesn't bark. Yeah, it's pretty quiet.
Awesome. And the grooming, how's the grooming been compared to? I mean, obviously you're used to Boykins. It's probably easier, honestly, but
so a normal, like I said, she's got kind of not a slick coat, but just the wires just haven't come out yet on her. But that was another question too. Like you said, with the Boykins, I was like, all right, well, what's the issue with the burrs and the grooming and all that stuff? The ones that I've seen in person, and Tanya showed me on, luckily I got to meet Tura's sire and dam also. Basically, you take, you can use your hands, but almost like a pumice stone, where if their coat gets like super wiry, like super poofy, you just take it like a pumice stone. They call it stripping. And they do have like, I think stripping like brushes, but you just strip the coat and then it just comes right off. But I liked it too because if you got burrs on the coat, you just strip that fur right off with it. Doesn't hurt the dog or anything like that. It just comes right off. So yeah, there's been literally no grooming with her yet. Yeah, she's pretty low maintenance, which is awesome for me. So
Tyler, he's selling me on it.
I know.
I'm trying to think of other things with her, man. Loves to retrieve, loves to fetch. Like I said, super, super eager and smart. I mean, she picks up on everything pretty quick. My wife's done a lot of training when I'm at work, and she'll do some training sessions here and there. Where, I mean, even now we have a place board that's kind of close to the dining room table. And so now when we eat dinner, I'll just tell her place, and she'll just sit in the place board and just, she'll watch us. She doesn't cry. She doesn't do anything. Maybe after about 20 minutes, she might try to step off of it, but she's just sitting there. You look at her, the tail starts wagging, but she'll stay there. Yeah, so she's taken to the training, like the basic obedience stuff, really well. And that's the other thing too, is I didn't want to breed that was so independent that it hunted for itself. I wanted a breed that hunted with me. And so that was one thing where I wanted that connection. Just, I mean, especially with the spaniel, like they have to hunt with you, because if they go flush a bird at 80 yards, there's no way I'm going to get a shot. I also didn't want a breed. Now, obviously, some dogs are better at others at accounting for the terrain, and you know, out west they might run at 200 yards, and the grouse woods they cut down to 60. But I wanted a breed that was naturally close, because I'm still not used. I mean, even when we're running the back, you know, the back couple acres, when she gets out to 70 yards, that's all new terrain to me, because I'm like, oh wow, that's like that's a little different. I'm used to him being at 20, 30. Yeah, she comes back real good. I mean, her recall's great. Yeah, not to say they're all easy, because again, I've only had one, but she's been the biggest thing. I think they're just, if you go to a well-bred dog, whether it's any breed, then your chances obviously are increased of getting a good dog. And yeah, I mean, Tour's been a pleasure. I mean, she's just happy as can be. Yeah, she's been fun. She's a little excitable little thing.
Yeah, that's exciting. I'm excited to follow along for sure and see how she progresses and check out some of those awesome photos that you take, because I know there's going to be some good ones coming up here this fall.
Hope so. Yeah, I got to do the breed just. I mean, that's the thing too, is like with a less well-known breed, I feel like I do have, not to like say I'm important, but I do have a responsibility to do my due diligence with getting this breed, like not making it embarrassing, I guess is the best way I can say it.
For sure.
So yeah, just trying to be involved and do the best I can. Yeah, going, like I said, once it warms up and we thaw out up here, we'll go to NAVTA trainings and just try to pick everybody's brain and do the best I can. So,
okay. Jeff, eager to please.
That's right.
I'm hearing a dog that wants to be a team player and is eager to please. I mean,
well, I definitely think that's a Vizsla thing. Like Vizsla's, at least with mine too, like she definitely isn't out there for herself. She's constantly checking in. Like she's not a big running dog. You know, if she gets out to 50, 60 yards, like she's usually looking for me, checking in, kind of seeing where I'm at. So I do like that about the breed for sure. They definitely want to please their owners, and they call them Velcro dogs for a reason, because they like to be by their person,
Yep. Yeah, she's a cuddler too. I mean, not for nothing. That was another thing too, is being at the house. My wife a couple years ago bought me this massive, it's a dog bed, but it fits me in it. It's a human-sized dog bed with like pouches on the side for your phone and your iPad and all this stuff. And so Cooper kind of cuddled. Traveler was a pretty big cuddler, but man, Tour, I as soon as I go to lay down on that dog bed, she dives right in and she tucks her head right here and she goes to sleep. I mean, yeah, they're, like I said, they're Velcro dogs, but not, at least with Tour, but not annoyingly so.
Right.
Like if I tell her down, she'll go. Sometimes she'll pout and go in the corner and lay down, but she'll go away.
Yeah. Yeah, with ours, she wants to be by you, but not necessarily like on you. She just wants you like in the room.
Right.
Like that's the
be
main
a part of it. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. That's how Mac is for me. He wants to be just in the room with you. Gotta have his people together. That's it. Right. Coming up on an hour, Jeff. I think it's about that time.
I got some Sky Blast
questions. So Chris, we end our podcast, man, with Sky Blast questions, right? The random off the cuff, right? Shooting from the hip, letting it fly, never know what's going to get asked type of questions.
Right.
Are you down for that?
Yeah, let's go. Come on.
All right.
Want me to start?
I mean, I can go first. That's fine.
No, it don't matter.
No, I'll go first. All right,
you go first.
We're New Year. We're changing things up here.
Okay.
All right. Coffee or energy drinks, Chris?
Coffee.
Okay, my man. Black or cream?
Black.
All right, I knew I liked
Keep it simple.
That's right.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Jeff
so much easier.
Yeah.
The other day, I was thinking about when we were at Disney. I was standing in line by the coffee, and all these people are sitting there waiting for their turn, put the cream in, and getting the straws. I was like, just pour the damn coffee in the cup and walk out. It's so much nicer.
I agree. 100%.
Yep. As my doctor said today, I drink it black as God intended.
That's right.
All right. What kind of shotgun are you rolling with in the upland field?
The upland gun. I bought this American Tactical 20 gauge. Our local Ace Hardware sells guns and ammo. which when we first moved here, I was like, what the hell? And so my wife was shopping around for something. They also have a donut shop in it too, which is kind of crazy.
Awesome.
But yeah, it's a great ace. And she was shopping for something. I was standing looking at guns, and this guy, the guy behind the counter was like, "You look for anything in particular?" I said, "Well, no." I said, "I'll look at a grouse gun if you got one." I was like, "Oh, I got this for you." And so I looked at it, and it was like, I think $500. And I was like, "Oh, well," because I didn't have a pure upland gun yet. I'm lazy. I don't want to carry my duck hunting gun around the grouse woods. So I bought that 4 years ago. And I mean, it's done well. It's super light, and not for nothing, it's relatively cheap compared to other upland guns out there. So if I beat the hell out of it, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like I'm beating a $2,000 gun up. So yeah, it's like American Tactical 20 gauge.
It's right up my alley. Sounds like exactly what I need to go research right now.
It's pretty, man. It's got I can't remember if it's got a grouse or a pheasant engraved on it. I think it's got grouse engraved on the side of it. I mean, looks sharp.
Okay.
I'm trying to convince Tyler to buy my old upland gun. He's got my old truck, so now he's got to get the old over and under too.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, seriously. Okay. What about when you're duck hunting? What are you carrying?
One of the newer Browning A5s.
Okay. Oh, love me.
20 gauge?
No, that one's the 12 gauge. I've always wanted an older A5, and I just haven't pulled the trigger on one. But one of these days I'm gonna get an older one. But then they came out the Sweet 16, and I like that. And then of course they came out the 20 gauge just now. So I can't decide on which one now.
Yeah, that's the one I've been eyeing up. Man, that's a pretty gun.
It's sharp.
That A5 20 gauge. Yeah, that's a cool gun.
I have an old A5.
Nice.
My dad grew up on with it.
That's awesome.
It does not cycle anymore though. So
I'm sure you can get that worked out.
I took it to the local place, and they couldn't get it. They couldn't figure it out. So I don't know what the deal is. So, but anyway, okay. What is your favorite wild game to eat, consume?
Duck. As far as type of duck, I'm not super particular. So much so that I'll regularly eat sea ducks.
Okay.
So, I remember this a couple years back when I was still in Virginia, and we used to do a big oyster roast like every November, and had friends and family come over to my house and cooked up a bunch of oysters, and had some obviously bacon wrapped duck and stuff like that, and I brined them for a day or so, and my dad comes over, and everyone's talking about how good the duck is, and my dad comes over, he goes, "You feeding me sea duck?" And I went, "Yeah." He goes, "Yeah, I got a fishy one." I was like, "Oh, I'm sorry, Dad." I covered up the taste of it, but yeah, I love duck. Although I've really started to like woodcock. I mean, I like liver, but just salt, pepper on the woodcock and just throw it on the grill real quick. That's also really good too.
Okay. All right. Okay. Last one for me is, what is at the top of your bucket list hunts list?
It used to be Alaska for Harlequin because I was a bucket list duck. But I think now my cliche answer would be whatever first bird I can get to her on. And then if I could have it, taking both dogs to maybe Utah and do cinnamon teal.
That'd be cool.
That'd be awesome. Okay. All right. That's it for me. I'm out of shells. Jeff, you are up.
All right. What is your go-to treat or snack for your dogs?
Oof. Whatever's in my pocket.
Yeah.
Let's see. Am I hunting or am I at home?
Let's go at home.
Oh,
like, are you a rawhide guy? Do you like the little peanut butter balls? Like, what's the go-to?
yeah, I would say probably the peanut butter balls. My wife makes them and then sticks them in the Kong, and it keeps both dogs busy for like an hour or so.
Okay.
So that now hunting, I used to just give them beef jerky and stuff throughout the hunt. But now I use the retriever fuel. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that. It's like it looks like peanut butter. It's in a little packet that you can squeeze, and it's got a lot of
a kid's like little go pouch.
Yeah, it looks like that. And the dogs love it, but it's got a lot of electrolytes and stuff like that for the dogs, so it kind of helps fuel them throughout the hunt. So I'll use that. So I would say, yeah, if I'm hunting, it's going to be retriever fuel. The packets can kind of freeze if it's extra cold when you're duck hunting, so I just keep it next to my chest and keep it warm because it's like peanut butter. You just squeeze it out, and the dogs like it. So yeah, I'd say that and jerky.
Nice. Yeah, I've been looking at that retriever fuel stuff. I was
But both my
meaning to
dogs
buy
love
a
it, man.
couple of them and see if my dogs like it. So yeah, that's cool. All right. Best way to keep that Wirehaired Vizsla occupied when you're not hunting.
Well, I could pan around the camera, or we have a bunch of toys on the floor. So, we have random dog toys, or the peanut butter Kong.
Mhm.
I think also something that people forget about is just mentally stimulating the dog. So, just super short sessions of even just place work helps. We do that if she's getting like super, we call it Velcro-y, where she's like pawing at the couch because she wants to cuddle with us. We'll do a short little session. Or any of those, we have one of those plastic things where you put the treats in and they have to kind of figure out how to get it out.
The little
Just like,
puzzle. Yeah.
yeah, the little puzzles. I mean, because
Yeah.
it makes them use their nose, and then also just again keeps them busy. I think I'd much rather keep the dog busy, have them have some fun, get a treat, use their nose, than me just say no and yell at them all the time.
That's fair.
Yeah,
Yeah, that mental
keep it
stimulation
positive.
is huge. Yeah,
Exactly.
for sure. Okay, my last one. I just got back from Disney World. So, what is your favorite Disney character?
Oh,
And we won't judge if it's a princess. It's fine if it's a
Disney character. I'm trying to think of who I know. Was the original Robin Hood when he was a fox? Is that a Disney movie?
Robin Hood. That's a good question. I think it is.
I think that's a Disney movie.
Yeah, it should be. We have to look this up. Tyler, is Robin Hood a Disney movie? I think it is.
I actually don't know. I'm not sure if I know the Robin Hood you're talking about.
Yeah, the old school animated.
Yes,
Robin
it
Hood.
is. 1973.
Yeah, that's who we're
Produced
going
by
with.
Walt Disney Productions.
Okay, all right.
It's a good.
Right.
It says widely recognized as a Disney classic.
Okay,
There we go.
right. Fair
Perfect. Good answer.
Eric, you've never seen this Robin Hood?
I've never seen that Robin, and I've only seen other Robin Hoods, I think.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
That's
Yeah,
good.
who knows? Who knows? All right, Jeff, you're out of shells.
I'm out.
That's it. Chris, before we hit the stop record button, anything you want to plug, social media handles, articles you've written, anything like that, this is the time.
Yeah.
Go ahead and go.
I mean, you guys said it, the Hunting Travelers, social media, and then if you search the Hunting Traveler, normally go to my website where I have some articles and stuff. I would say too, if anybody has questions on the Boykin, I'm not an expert on Wirehaired Vizslas, I just know mine. But if anybody has questions on the Boykin, I'm more than happy to take a call or message with somebody. They are great dogs, but not for everybody. So I'm always happy to talk dogs, or dogs in general. I don't care. But yeah, I have a couple new articles coming out that should be out soon. Tom Beckby's taking a couple, Virginia Sportsman's taking some. So yeah, hopefully they should be out later this year, I hope. Some magazines are out like a year, so it's kind of hard to tell the timetable. Yeah, just the Hunting Traveler, and just remember 2 L's, and yeah, you'll find me.
Good to go. Perfect. Excellent. That's it, folks. Thanks for tuning in. And yeah, hope you have a great morning, evening, night, whenever you're listening to this podcast. And we will see you all next week. Let's see if I can get the record button to stop here.
Great way to end it.
I know, right? We're smooth over here. What can we say?